We've got it. Welcome to What's Up Universe for Friday, October the 6th. Oh my goodness, we are just on the cusp of the eclipse season taking place. And this is a big one for us, not only on a personal level, but also in terms of our potentials and our acceleration of our purpose through mediumship. So I'm so glad that we get to have this conversation today. Obviously, I'll be talking more about everything even next week when we walk through that doorway. Right now we're coming out of what is a lot of the retrogrades. As we've had a lot of planets sitting in retrograde, they're starting to leave. Venus has moved forward. We have Capricorn that's going to move direct as well. So there's a lot of activity. We're feeling like there's almost like a relief sort of taking place, like a weight is being lifted. You might be finding that you have more energy, you feel more active. And again, we look at those time and these phases as being opportunities for us to uncover some of the deeper things that are going on inside of our hearts, inside of our psyches, what it is we need to shift and heal, what changes we need to make. So it's been a very potent time of self-reflection, of having us really to start really considering our lives and what's possible for us. So, it's been a confronting time, and confronting not only in terms, as I said, on with the psyche, the emotional body's been exceptionally triggered through all of this, because there's karma that's being healed. There is all of these, I want to say, blocks or challenges that we've been kind of tolerating and putting up with within our life that are being lifted and healed, whether we're conscious or not about it. So I'm always about, let's take a conscious approach. Let's see how we can be, proactive within these energies in order to help us to find greater ease, and of course, really helping us to be that bringing in that spiritual maturity and that sense of deepened self-responsibility for the direction and the unfoldment of our life. So it really is, it's such a positive thing that's taking place for us, even though it can be confronting and challenging. And of course, we get through that all together. So we're moving into, as I said, we have the eclipse season coming up. We have, eclipses are always about like an opening that allows us to access not only a higher state of consciousness, but really helps to direct us in moving forward in our lives, moving forward more even in terms of our soul's path in this lifetime. And so there are powerful times where we are not only receiving greater guidance, or not to say greater guidance, but maybe more tuned in, tapped in to the guidance available to us, and the invitations, are just continue to come forward, so that we're able to take those steps forward on our path. And really, the eclipses help us, bring us into a position in our lives of helping us to really make some headway and progress in terms of an uprising, or a not only higher, as I said, higher state of consciousness, but a higher level of living, a higher state of energy and frequency. So in that, of course, there's always, the challenges. Sometimes we are being positioned and we're being, carried into this energy from a place of a conscious approach on it, or we're being lifted and dragged because we, we're going regardless, as whatever we've been able to understand, incorporate, or shift within our own self. So anyway, this is really potent energies. It's really important, because this is also where, as we have seen with the full moon, with the equinox, where there is higher connection, or greater connection, incoming messages to our spiritual teams, our loved ones on the other side, connecting with our angels and guides, because it really has diminished or almost eliminated any of the congestion within the veil that makes it really super easy for us to receive. It also means that we feel like we're not receiving anything, simply because it's different, and we need to, just understand the shift or change within the energy, and understanding that shift or change in the energy is not something that happens on a conscious level, but something that we're able to understand through the experience itself. So this is, it is, an important, because there is acceleration. There's acceleration happening not only for our lives in moving forward. So we want to be very conscientious of what we're doing right now to prepare for that eclipse season. But we also want to help also understanding that there is a higher activation, or a more intensity in terms of our connection to the unseen worlds, which also allows for our soul senses to move into a heightened state of activation and receptivity. So everything just continues to be accelerated, it continues to be amplified, it continues to really move us into a much more not only soul-led direction in our life, but really helping us to utilize our gifts and talents and abilities in this lifetime. And so again, this is, the universe is giving us, this big permission to go out into the world, to be who we are, to do the work that we feel called to, dream our wildest and biggest dreams and allowing that to actualize. So this is, as I said, it's a real potent time, even though under the energy there can be different effects for us depending on where we are and what the journey of our own soul as well. So we look at these at this time frame as opportunity, even though, as I said, it might be challenging. There's some shadows that are coming up. There are a lot of matters of our heart that need to be considered and addressed. But within it, it's also about taking the opportunities forward so that we are, as I said, greater responsibility for our lives and in terms of even what manifests for us. We talked about that last night in my Evolve membership group, where we talked about the importance of making a decision and our intentions, but more importantly, the responsibility that comes in taking action, to do the work, to do the things that, to put our effort towards being the change we want to see in our lives. So it's an important time that we're in terms of all of that. So the energy is really, as I said, it's really big. It's moving us to move more in terms of, it's almost like, again, we can always say like a new beginning. There's a lot of in terms of the past that is coming to completion. So some of those, the unhealthy aspects of relationship, or any themes that we experience, we can look back 6 months. So back in March, anything that was sitting back in March that maybe was a theme in our life, was a challenge or something that we were dealing with, there's a completion cycle that's taken place here. So there's a lot of release, there's a lot of letting go, but also it also is taking a look at if there is still something that needs to be addressed. If you were experiencing any challenges in the past, you're likely going to experience some of the same in this phase as well. So again, this is, we need to look at the healthy choices, how we're responding to things. It's a renewing energy. And so it's always about being very conscientious, thinking with intention, just really being considerate in terms of what it is that we're putting out into the universe, because it is we're looking to move forward, but we need to accept what was. We need to make peace with what was. We need to make peace with what is, so that we're able to take the positive action forward. And making peace means that sometimes it's letting go. It's, whether it be some of our, again, friendships, relationships, even some of the behaviors or the way that we've treated ourselves, that we need to look at, being kinder, more compassionate, being more loving, more gentile, and looking at ways in which to nurture and care for ourselves in ways that perhaps we've neglected or abandoned ourselves in the past. So that's a really big part of this. So important time to really look at, what are those practices? How can I improve my relationship with myself? And knowing that as you improve your relationship with yourself, automatically your relationships with other people are going to improve as well. So we look at this energy, as I said, that we've got this, we basically have about 10 days, 9 days, of course. The eclipse doorway opens on the 14th for us, which is really going to move us. Everything's going to elevate for us. As I said, elevation in terms of our connection to the unseen world, even how we're feeling in ourselves, in our lives, because the weight of what we've been carrying, all of the as I said, a lot of the karma within the relationships is being resolved and cleared out. And so we're going to feel a little bit more on top of the world than maybe what we have. This energy over this through this full moon equinox and in preparation for this eclipse season, it's been very emotional. So it's not unusual. Maybe you've been feeling really lethargic, really tired and run down physically, just can't find your groove. I know that's, where a lot of my mornings have been. It's like, okay, let's get on with this day. Or you might find that it's been super emotional, where you're very sad, you're very weepy, feeling depressed, or maybe even, struggling with a little bit with depression. Anxiety can also have been heightened through this time period. Opportunity of healing, opportunity of clearing and cleansing on that deep, as I said, deep emotional level. There is also, as on the spiritual level, or our spiritual connection, as I said, there is an amplification of the soul senses. So if there have been, a lack of self confidence, insecurity, perhaps feeling a little bit, that might have really been coming up for you, even questioning whether or not your connection is clear, what you're receiving is accurate, feeling, even questioning whether or not you are a medium, all of those things that, and of course you are, because, we wouldn't be having this conversation if you weren't. But anything that has been blocking or has been stuck, or maybe even creating an impairment, so to speak, between the communication between the physical and non-physical world, that's getting cleared out as well, which means that your energy centers require a lot of attention. And I would really encourage you to spend some time to look at working directly with your spiritual energy center to help and support the new alignment, the clearing and rebalancing that's going on. Anything you can do, especially as I always say, starting at the root. I've been working on my throat, which is, there's can be imbalances in different ways at any particular time in our life. So really being conscientious of our energy centers. And of course, because each energy center not only affects our communication with the non-physical world, but because it also supports the health of our physical body as well. And our physical body, of course, without our physical body, without our ability for the spirit to be in this body, we're not able to go out and do the work that we feel called to do in this lifetime. I mean, can we do it from the spirit world? Absolutely. But it's so much easier to accomplish and manifest in the physical world here when we're in a physical body. So we need to be taking care of our health. And so again, anything you can do to support that your spiritual energy system, it will be highly beneficial, whether that is going for a Reiki session, doing Reiki on a daily basis, working within your other modalities. I know for me, I work with IET, so it's always looking at that integrated therapy, looking at how to release and balance in terms of these energy centers, and because of the direct influence that they not only have on the physical, but also, of course, on the elevation of our spiritual connection as well. This is also when we look at balancing, renewing energy, taking care of our energy body, which is such an important thing, because we want to release any energies that have been, preventing us from moving forward, that have been creating, maybe there's been a dormant soul sense, maybe there's been a lack of receptivity in some way, maybe we've pinched it off, out of fear, whatever it is. It's, as we move through, we begin the healing and directing for that to all be cleared and healed now as we elevate into these higher levels of energy and receptivity from the non-physical world. That being said, with this boost of energy, it's also important that we be considerate of our spaces, not only our energy body here in terms of what we've been carrying, that we're releasing and we're healing and we're aligning and being conscientious of that, but the energy of our homes becomes quintessential to our health and well-being through this eclipse season. So this is a great time to declutter, to look at purging things that no longer serve, to look at doing, tidying things up, so to speak. You might even find rearranging furniture and just, again, helping any stagnant energy that's been stuck or that's been heavy within your environment, that it has a chance to be cleared, and the energy has a chance to be renewed as well. So your space and energy clearings become really important. I'm also going to encourage you to look at closing down and being very considerate and conscientious of closing down the portals between the physical and non-physical worlds, because with a heightened energy, not only do we have more connection to the spirit world, but again, we're looking at the impact of what can be not only those positive, loving beings, but of course, bringing in some of the openings and portals for some of the heavier energies to be at play here for us as well. So our energy body is being very affected. Remember, I said we've got the highs and lows, feeling lethargic, lethargic, maybe even feeling a little bit sad and depressed. Of course, when those portals are open, that's going to invite in those lower vibrational energies as well. So we want to be conscientious of the fact that, hey, my emotional body's the apple cart's a little bit upset here. I'm not, I need to nurture, take care of myself. I'm processing the weight of the past. I'm maybe grieving. I'm, going through, there's massive change happening here right now. So in understanding our vibration lowers. And anytime we lower vibration, we come into alignment with lower vibrational energies. It's just natural within how it works. So we want to look at making sure we're closing the portals, we're doing our space and energy clearings. We want to make sure that our environment is supporting us through this elevation and through this time period as well. So, just make sure, and you might find, I've been just doing, space and energy clearings on, it feels like, not on a constant basis, but but honestly, it is like maybe even once or twice a week. And not only do I do it through the expansion meditation, of course, the expansion process that you guys are, working with, which is helping and supporting our energy centers, but also helping and supporting our environment as we expand that energy field through our homes and our spaces. But in addition to that, it's like, because of the impulses, because of the frequency, because of let's call it the energetic climate that is at play, that we have to also look at, becoming more attentive and conscientious to the environment around us and doing our due diligence, that energetic responsibility. That's such an important part of being able to do this work, and continue, in not only in sustaining our vibration, but sustaining our energy and our environments, that we can do this work and do that and be who we are for longevity, right? It's a big factor in it. This is also important where we look at energy. Okay, we're looking at our energy system, we're looking at the world around, our immediate environment, but we also need to be super conscientious of what we're putting out into the universe. What energy are we being throughout this time period as well? Because when we think about energetic responsibility, we understand that we are powerful creators within our lives. We're here to create. That's one of the whole purposes of our very existence, is to bring into form, the manifestations, the things that, our higher power is looking to bring into form in this lifetime. We are the medium that's being used. And so we need to be very conscientious about what we're putting out there. So not only the energy, we're being conscientious, we're putting out a higher vibrational energy, we're expressing more light, we're expressing more love, and that is having a positive impact on the world around us. But when we're in a little bit lower vibration, it's not always easy to be all love and light, and to know that there is, that's why we want to do our work. That's why we want to, come into the healing scope of it, so we can be counteracting what we're putting out into the world as well. So when you hear, to be the change you want to see in the world, that's a big piece of it. What we're putting out in energetically becomes very important here as well. That being said, when more important, and not more importantly, I don't think one is more important than the other, but another important note to make is that this also means the thoughts that we're putting out. What are we thinking? What seeds are we planting? This is a very potent time in terms of helping, where the universe is supporting us to make manifest the very things that we're looking to create, do, and have in our life. However, that being said, it's also those thought patterns, if you're putting out feelings or thoughts of not being good enough, of being insecure, of lack consciousness, of being in victimhood, whatever it is, as you're planting seeds for more of that in your life as well. So it becomes very important to be able to pivot our thought patterns, pivot what we're thinking, pivot what we're saying or speaking over our life, because in this potency, it's the very thing that is being planted, and under this energy will be accelerated in our lives as well. So we need to be very, very conscientious of just knowing that we want to look at moving into more positively inspired behaviors, more positively inspired thoughts, more, everything to counteract not only the energy that we're being out there, but also the seeds that we're planting under this potent time as well. So this is, a lot of, 2023, I don't know if you saw the post of the big sage that I just posted in our private forum for all of the mediums that have certified with me. If you're someone who's seen that, it's just like, there just doesn't seem to be enough sage in 2023 for everything that has been underfoot for us. And so we're really moving into an energy now that is elevating our lives, that is helping to, bring in some healing to what has been challenging, so that we're able to open up, that life is able to expand for us, and that we're able to really be, create the future that we're looking to live and to breathe and of course to be. Our health and healing is important, of course, as we can take care of our well-being, as we can put our energy and direct, focus intentionally in terms of really taking care of ourselves, taking care of the relationship we hold with ourselves, and making those positive life choices, and positive life choices that only we know are going to be of benefit for us. So again, it's everything that's helping us to not only up level within our lives, but also what is igniting under this energy, what is our pure potential, in terms of our mediumistic abilities, and our pure potential for knowing joy and well-being and health in all aspects of our lives. There is a real, within this deeper connection, or this accelerated connection, we're also reaching into, I would say, moving not only in terms of more direct communication with the non-physical world, but there is like almost like what is known as outer mystical energies, or outer mystical systems, that we are starting to find connection with as well. So this always goes, everything we do to assimilate our past and do our healing, as we look at raising in vibration, it's putting us out into greater connection, deeper connection with ourselves, which allows for deeper connection or greater connection in terms of the non-physical world as well. So that being said, through this time phase, you might be having not only a lot of spirit phenomena where you're up close and personal with your loved ones, more things in your environment that are happening, whether it be the physical manifestations of the sounds, taking place, of the bangs and the knocks at the door, the bells ringing, things like that can happen. I had a exchange with a medium yesterday, where she said her cell phone was doing all of its own thing, like it had been taken over. So again, spirit is working with us, letting us know that they're here, letting us, inviting us to remember we're loved and we're supported, and to connect and to ask and be conscientious and stay positive. All of those things, the messages just continue for us. And also, you might also find astral travel is really, really, your outer body experiences are more pronounced. You might be having initiations or conversations with galactic beings, or higher, even within the angelic realm, more up close and personal encounters with the divine. All of that is a part of this energy as well. So just know that this is where, again, letting go of the fear, because under these high vibration, when you're maintaining and doing your best to maintain your high vibration, you're taking energetic responsibility, you're doing your healing work. As we move into these connections, you are moving into higher vibration. So you're going to begin to experience higher vibrational beings as a result. And so it goes hand in hand. It's where we also want to be conscientious to close those portals, to do the space and energy clearing, so that we're in a healthy energy, a higher vibrational energy through all of this as well. Dream states, you'll find dreams incredibly vivid. I've had some conversations with people over this last week as well, where it just feels like the dream state is very, very active. For me, I've been having what are a lot of lucid dreaming. So lucid dreaming, which you're sleeping, you're in a dream state, but being able to take almost control in the dream of how to direct the dream. I've been doing a lot of, I would say, prayers and activations and intention setting, even in my dream state. So it feels like, again, if you might be experiencing some of that as well. And again, if that's showing up as nightmares, I want to just to not panic over the fact if you've been experiencing nightmares. Sometimes, of course, for prolonged periods of nightmares can indicate that we are working with some kind of negative energy in our field or in our home. But through times like this, if you're having, a couple nightmares or something that happened, just know that it's not the nightmare isn't an indication of lower vibrational energy. It is almost clearing out what would be the shadows or the often darker aspects that might have been hidden within our own psyche, within our subconscious belief systems. So it comes up a little bit dark, but I always say look for the light in that experience as well, because healing is happening. And it's just how sometimes our mind creates the movie. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's dark and ominous, in its messaging. Always look for the light. So, that might be a part of it as well. I really encourage you to drink a lot of water. Like you're probably going to be almost feeling like you're force feeding yourself some water, especially if you're not someone who drinks a lot of water anyway. But really to do that, because you're going to see that the physical body through this time period, it's going to there's so much balancing, of course, of what's taking place as we move into these higher vibrational states. But again, it's going to help to alleviate any tension, tightness, any aches or pains in your physical body that are symptomatic from the high upgrades and high elevated states of this eclipse energy. And so anything you can do, again, your healthier food choices, making sure that you're honoring your body with what you're eating so that your body's not having to work harder in terms of working with processed foods, things like that. And just just to give your body a little bit of extra boost or support of what it needs on a physical level as it moves through these energies. But water, hydration is going to be so super important through this time period as well. And hydration can happen not only from the amount of water that we're drinking, but of course, you might find a little extra time in the bathtub with some Epsom salts will be very beneficial for helping and supporting your physical body and your energy body through this phase as well. Before I go, I just want to make sure, just to kind of touch base on this, look at what it is you really want to create. What are you doing with your life? What things are you really looking to manifest and bring into form? Sit down and have a conversation with yourself and create some very powerful intentions and get that created, get that set for you. Because as this eclipse season opens, anything that we're planting, anything we're asking, as I said, becomes amplified. We're are powerful. And as I said, these are powerful energetics that are really helping us to fulfill not only our greatest potential, but helping us to really build the life or create the life that we're looking to live. And so anything you can set intentionally for your life, and of course, in consideration of how it's going to benefit others, is going to allow for great things to play out in your life, and of course, in the life of, as we intend and pray for, excuse me, for others. Whew, I've got some throat chakra clearing to do for myself. But then again, it's been 11 nights of coming off of, the medium's world. And I do a lot of talking in the day. So my invitation is for a little bit of silence here, which of course, here in Canada, it is Thanksgiving, and with family and grandbabies and laughter and joy coming in, I'm not sure how much this Nana is going to have opportunity for stillness and quiet, but I'm certainly going to do my best. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving to all the Canadian people, of course, and looking forward to connecting with you again next week.